Dynasties and Dystopia by Nyan Sangetsu Chapter 3. Family is family. I used to be just like you, Vi, a punch-drunk dolt who thought he could take on the world with nothing more than a bit of grit in his fists. I shouted and screamed with the best of them, raged with the worst of them, but you, your leader, I never was. Those kids look up to you, you know. Take care of them, be a good leader. Just a man. Family is family. It was stable. Jace almost couldn't believe his eyes. A quick blink followed by a second, now a third, and yet still the scene before him did not change. He peered at the aperture and the fragile gemstone contained within, half expecting it to explode at any moment. Other tests had done just that, yet somehow, some way, this time it had held. It was lifting
No
things,
tricks.
sending scraps of metal floating into the air, a field that seemed to spread
I
a
wanna
little
know what
more with
happened
each
at
passing
Sunfall.
moment. Given enough power, it would likely lift people, entire vessels even. Remarkable, he remembered. I had hoped, but to see it actually function. On a whim, he flicked a screw at the device and passed through unharmed, floating idly by. Unfettered by gravity, it drifted
Who would
right
do
up
such
to
a
the
thing?
ceiling and dangled there, just out of reach. Jace inspected the device anew, unable to quite contain his smile. Was it the runes? Had he cracked it properly? Properly like Naruto instructed, or was this some other influence at work?
High priest
He had
Bahamut?
come down on his shoulders.
He's the one who
Not
put the
bad.
gun on you.
Looks stable. What's
Yes.
next? Jace
thanked me
babbled
for my
for a moment
diligence,
before
then
sense
had his
reasserted
guards
itself.
release the villain.
What had he called them? Shadow
see,
clones? The ability to
was he
leave
who
behind
ordered
a
the
copy
killing.
of oneself and
Then they
use
turned
it
on us.
to act in their
Should have
stead.
died with my men,
That was
so the
fascinating
loyalty
enough
meant
in his
something.
own right.
20 years I
and
gave to the
eerie.
sun.
The inventor
For
shivered
what?
a little. Naruto wasn't really
Malice
here
and
at the
murder?
moment. Not the original.
for honor,
He'd gone
sacrifice,
elsewhere, leaving
true
a copy of
sacrifice,
himself
the
behind
kind
with that
priests and
strange
rulers
scythe
know
of his.
nothing of?
The weapon wouldn't speak to him,
It's all a fat
but
joke.
he could feel its eye watching him from the corner of the room. So long as
I
he
can
didn't
believe
try
you're a good
anything,
man.
he was willing to let
But
it be.
why go
It
with the
wasn't
Shadow
as if
Carja in
he
the
could
first
move
place?
without him.
Why save
But
them?
enough of that.
Because
The
of
council
Izumin, of
must be
course.
told of this
He was the
glorious
one
discovery,
true Sun King.
and that they would,
Izumin's
just as
just
soon
a
as his
child.
new partner returned
Yes,
from, well,
an untainted
wherever he had
vessel.
gone. Because
I
this
believed he was
this
pure.
would change the world.
But they
This
used him.
was
Used our
hextech.
faith.
They were moving.
I can see that now.
Ari wasn't sure why, only
No
that they
shadows
were.
under a noonday
He'd gone
sun.
suddenly, leaving early in the
Bahavas
morning.
didn't need to
He'd asked her
disgrace
to
my
come
name.
with him.
I
It
did it
was that
myself,
or stay behind
serving a
and watch the
rotten
odd
throne.
little human known as Jace. And so she had followed him.
If it's honor
Followed
you
as
seek,
he led her down
the
into the
Sun Carja
undercity,
seem
into
trustworthy.
the muck and the grim and the
A little
filth of
stuck
Son,
up, maybe,
unafraid
but
of
trustworthy.
for perhaps the
Those
first time in
Carja
her
once
life,
raided
she
your
felt
lower lands.
full. Sated,
Raided every land we
content,
could reach.
merely being in his
was the
presence
sun's
kept her
will.
hunger at bay.
I
She
did
knew
what I
it was
was told.
temporary, but it wouldn't, and
Others did
that it
worse.
wouldn't last. That
But
she
as their
might
captain,
lose
I had-
control
Luthen,
at any
I don't
moment.
care what
Try
you
to
did.
feed on him
I
as she
can't
as she
absolve
had
you.
so many others.
But
But
the
for
Carja
now,
are changing
sorry
their
for
ways.
dragging you down here
You
all of a
could-
sudden. Naruto's
Perhaps.
voice drew her from
Avad
her
doesn't
reverie like a
understand what the
lover's
sun
laugh.
demands of its
Just stay close,
soldiers.
okay? This won't take long.
Perhaps he
Then we
understands
can
it
talk.
too well.
Ari hunched
Now you
down
sound
into
like the
her
blameless
robes with a
Murad.
soft sigh. She wanted to hold onto this moment, to cling
I
to
met
it,
someone who
him,
wants to get
as
you
long
out
as
of
she
this.
could.
A woman
All right.
named Banasha.
Naruto patted her head.
But first we
Good
need
girl.
to get you out of
Ari
here.
still twitched
What
just once.
are you?
The mere flick, yet the
You look
merest
like a
flick,
hunter.
yet it betrayed
You give
her
orders like a
anxiety.
soldier who's
He
been
saw
out.
it. Those keen, slitted eyes narrowed
Mercenaries.
behind his mask.
Think they'll
Well,
all line up to tell
don't
me
just
I'm
stand there.
innocent?
Come on,
stayed on
there's
the
work to be done.
place,
She hastened
Carja.
after him. After all, she had waited so long to meet him. Now that she had, she would follow him wherever he went. Her gaze
you won't
stayed,
even leave
varying
an
but a
echo.
little as she realized
You
just
didn't make
how
it hard
many
to be
were
followed.
staring. More than a
Almost
few.
as if you
She
wanted
could
to go
hear
out in
them
a
muttering.
showdown.
One of them asked how much she cost. Golden eyes narrowed. Cost, as if she could be bought. Perhaps a snack would suit her temper. Scenes we've taken in and odd little thoughts. Naruto held back a laugh as he slipped through the lanes, as every air was familiar, if slightly less poisonous than he recalled. He wasn't sure if that was a good thing. Times had been easier when it was just the three of them, him, Vander, and Selko. Simpler times when he devoted himself to a dream of freedom, the whole of the underground united as one, before he lost hope, before he threw himself into the singular purpose of finding his way home, before this curious girl had come to his door. True to form, young Ari shadowed him every step of the way, not quite clean, but not letting him out of her sight either. He didn't know what to make of her. Her tales drew more than curtails drew more than a few appreciative looks from the denizens of the Undercity, and yet for all her anxiety, she could clearly defend herself. When someone tried to grab them, she clawed their eyes out. Another had their life bleached from their bonds, leaving them a shriveling husk in the street. Kerma whistled in the back of his head. Might want to watch that. It wasn't that he regretted taking her in. Rather, he simply didn't know what to make of her. Whatever the case, she seemed to have laid a claim to him since their first meeting. Now, if he only knew what that claim was, he might be able to make some semblance of sense from this. Sooner or later he would. Until then, it was just a matter of time. In the end, he found his quarry easily enough. Much like Vander, Silco had those who worked under him. Unlike the Hound of the Underground, those minions were a good deal less cautious. It was the simplest things to tag one of those boys and follow them from a distance, let them lead him and Arya down into the depths of Zon. He'd fallen out of touch, out of favor. Zon had forgotten him. Time to rectify that. Silco was no stranger to violence. Quite the contrary, he embraced the concept. It was a singular part of his vision of Zon, after all. Power, real power, only came to those who did anything to achieve it, just as the only way to defeat a superior enemy was to stop at nothing, to become the thing, the one that they feared. Likewise, when one fought for the freedom of one's country, a bit of bloodshed was inevitable. Power was not given but earned, and to earn it, one must be willing to fight for it. Silco had fought tooth and nail for that power. He fought harder, in ways louder than any other, committed heinous deeds in the name of power. He done things, terrible things he wasn't proud of, necessary things for the underground, suffered betrayal after betrayal, and paid each back in kind tenfold. And now was not the time for rage. All the anger in the world availed him not. Now was the time for fear. His sixth senses shrieked a warning mere moments before he heard the footsteps. He lowered the eyedropper from his damaged eye and willed himself to exhale. Then inhaled again. His fingers closed around the aperture to stifle a tremor. His next eyes flitted to the worn glass pane of his window and the ocean beyond, watching, waiting. A titanic sea monster swept by perilously close, its mighty bulk briefly obscuring his vision of the glass. As he moved on, he saw someone standing behind him in the glass. He hadn't been there a moment ago, a trick of the trade, just like his armor, dark leather mingled with patches of deep crimson, and navy wrapped up a terrifying man. He remembered when that armor had been less worn. It stirred up old accomplishments and memories best left forgotten, of oaths and promises, drinks and laughter shared together as brothers. How long have you been there? He was still speaking when he felt the quick kiss of a knife caress his jugular. His good eyes swiveled to face his would-be killer. A masked visage was the first thing he saw, and behind it a shock of unruly blonde hair spattered with bits of blood. He recognized that mask, remembered that ghastly visage of red on white, and just as he knew the man behind it, that its owner had chosen to donate again here, of all places, voted poorly for him. Long enough. Even the voice was just as he remembered, older perhaps, tired, worn down by time, but every bit as he remembered. There was someone lounging by the door, a girl. Were those tails? The knife drew a bead of blood from his throat, and he didn't dare look further. The mere act of moving his neck to do so threatened to turn that tiny cut into a gaping tear. All his strength, all his determination meant nothing in this moment. He had only his wits to rely on. In the end, that was all a man had. It's been some time. Silco swallowed once, wincing only a little as the accursed knife bit into his jugular. Have you come to kill me then, brother? Finish what you started. An awful pang of silence stretched between the two of them. And if I have, aren't you afraid? Of course I am. And he was. Not the panic of a lesser, besser man, but the knowledge that if he had answered poorly, his life was forfeit. That's a risk I've known all my life. He wouldn't put on an act like this if he meant to end him, surely. No, he wanted something. He daren't say it, and so chose his words carefully. But I still believe in loyalty. A loose noise of anger pierced the room. Loyalty, is it? He felt the knife tense against the vein. Abruptly, it fell away. He sucked in a sharp breath, gasping for air. A hand took hold of his chair and spun it around. Is this what you call loyalty? A booted foot kicked someone out of the shadowy corner. It took Silco a moment to recognize one of his runners. It was the boy's... What was the boy's name again? Deckard? Yes, that was it. The lad looked wasted at the moment, all but useless, body still quivering from the beating he'd taken. Were one to look closely, they could see the fading violet veins near his face, his muscles shrinking back down to their normal size. He must have taken another dose of shimmer to defend himself, and he'd lost badly. Even now, his old friend didn't lack for strength. That masked visage turned to face him, blue eyes blazed behind it. Explain. Zelko's gaze flicked to the quivering youth, still shaking at their feet. Leave us, boy. Dickard scampered towards the exit and slammed it behind him, pointless, as if a metal door would stop him. The very thought was laughable. Doors wouldn't stop this demon. If he wanted him dead, he would be dead. That was all he could cling to. If he'd come to kill the lot of them, they never would have seen him coming. They certainly wouldn't be having this conversation. A fist slammed into the wall, rattling the room. Answer me! Silko fought down a wince as the glass cracked. An unfortunate evil, but unnecessary one, and with hope, a temporary one. Deckard was merely a prototype. Once the shimmer was perfected, and Singe was so very, very close, they'd have no end of adult test subjects lining up to fight, each willing to bleed and die for the nation of Zon. Their sacrifices would be remembered, each and every one. His name might well be among them if this conversation went south. Unfortunate. His old friend dragged the word out on a hiss, making it more and more likely. This is wrong. It needs to stop. No, it will stop. Here, today. You want to talk? Moved up in the world, have you? Zuko scoffed back. No time for the little people. His lip curled in a sneer. How quickly you turned your coat. Tell me, was it that carrot that won you over, or the stick? I had my reasons, and you drugged up kids. It wasn't a question, despite raising. You're better than that. He volunteered, not a lie. It was the only thing that saved him. Deckard had taken the dose from his hand, stuffed of that poison willingly. He was in every way the first human test subject. There might well be more after him, but that was neither here nor there. His Uchiwara ally pulled up a chair, spun the back around to face him, and sank into it. You can't win a war with Piltover. I don't have to, Naruto. Despite his best efforts to the contrary, Zuko found himself rearing the motion, able to placate his brethren arms. I just need to scare them. His hands trembled but little as he drew a cigar forth from his desk drawer. The masked man snapped his finger and gave him a light. It wasn't unkindness, more a warning than anything else. Even so, he took a long drag, letting to fill his lungs, willing himself to excel, proved in and of himself. It might well be the last breath he ever took. A ring of smoke filled the air between them. He still lived. You taught me that, he rasped harshly. Fear is the only reliable way. The man snapped up, exposing a skeleton face and narrowed blue eyes. Still impossibly young, despite the weight of his ears. Time meant nothing to him. Even after all these years, he didn't understand it. How did a man simply cease to age? It spoke of magic and the arcane, of things he didn't understand. Perhaps a mere man wasn't meant to know such things. I thought you restrained. There was an unmistakable edge to his spiritual voice now. I taught you to be better than this. And where has being better gotten Son? Anger reared his ugly head, stealing away his calm like a thief in the night. You grasp at straws, searching for a way home, while the topsiders grind us down more each year. And now this project of yours? He swept an arm, scattering papers to the wind. The sons and daughters of Zon deserve more than their run-off. When he didn't reply, he bowled onward. But no, you choose to help those children, his children, and for what? To assuage your guilt? The blonde brow rose. You had me followed. I did. Blast. He'd overplayed his hand. Nothing to be gained by lying now. You didn't notice. I was distracted. Zuko grit his teeth. There was a time when you would have forgotten when you have fought for this. He didn't waver, even in his now. I did fight. Not hard enough. Zuko burst to his feet and slammed both hands down on the table, open arms rattling the wormwood. With your power, you could have conquered. That's enough, Zuko.
That's the last of ours.
Naruto never raised his voice. That was the worst thing. He didn't have to. The quiet fury of a shinobi. Zuko found himself flinching regardless. For an awful moment, he glimpsed the monster beneath the mask and shivered. This man was older than Piltover and Zahn combined. Although he wore the guise of a man, he was so much more. A spike of killing intent hit him dead in the heart, stilling the words on his tongue. His legs folded beneath him, sending him crashing back into the chair. Neither moved.
This won't be easy.
This is your home.
The
Silco
office
broke
still
the
has
truce
his
first.
personal guard.
You helped build that. You helped build these very walls. Do you even remember? Of course, I remember. A finger tapped the desk. I remember it. All of it. Every bit of it. Do you remember that day? Silco grit his teeth in a snarly voice, in a snarled voice gone hoarse
there
with
and we'll
emotion,
have him.
bleeding from a dozen wounds. My eye nearly gone. And what did you do? The mask came back down
I
with
had
a
to
slap
come here
click,
myself
concealing Naruto's face once more.
to end
I
your
saved you.
suffering,
You were the
Uday.
greatest of us all. If you had
mine.
stayed, the nation
The
of Zahn would be.
Outlanders led us
I
here.
chose not to be a
And now
conqueror.
that they are
That's
dead,
no way to live.
their
Leave the
price
kids out of it.
is most
Why should I?
affordable.
The pressure returned
But enough
tenfold,
with needles.
strengthening Silco's snarl
It's
in
time
his
for
throat. And then he
blades.
understood why. Why this man
Remove
who had
them
fought
from
with
the
gods and
sun's
demons,
sight.
who had slaughtered enforcers by the dozens, why he had run away from all this and hidden, why he had come back after all this time and not simply slaughtered him in his sleep. He had been kind.
Bad day
Because
for one
I
of us.
came down here with an offer for you. Now to raise the hand, dangling a single key
been a
upon it.
soldier.
Except when we can both benefit, you'll have your nation of Zahn. Silco's gaze straight to his hand. They had been friends once. Unlike Vander, this man had never trusted him. Betrayed, yes, abandoned certainly, but there
Make it
had never
hurt.
been violence
As the
between them.
shadow
He'd
falls
lost the
upon
finger
one.
preventing just such a killing. And very well, he drew up his chair, sat behind his desk, and steeped his fingers. I'm listening.
Sun's
The key
judgment
vanished
upon
up his
you.
sleeve. I've seen pieces of what will happen. Been messing back with relics again, happening. The blonde grit his teeth was so hard he heard something crack. I need you to give Piltover a push. No killing, just a good nudge. And Silco waved him on, laying his chin atop
Make
his
it
hands.
hurt
He
as the shadow
settled
falls upon them.
into weight. He sat there as his old friend laid out his
What are you
intentions
doing?
to him, clear as day.
Move!
5 minutes passed, and when Naruto finished, he drew himself up. And they call me a monster, he said softly, shaking his head. I have just one question for you. The cold mask tilted. And that is, are you with me? He leaned
Kill
forward.
the traitor!
Or against me?
Kill a
Naruto lifted his
Nora!
mask and pulled it from his head. He held it in his hand, turned it end over end, considered it for a long moment, then he flung it to his shoulder. It struck the ground once, bounced, and landed in Silco's lap. There had been a time before the drowning when such an act would have terrified him. Now, he quirked a brow. Naruto stood slowly from where he sat. He extended his hand, palm splayed out towards him. Do we have a deal? Well, Silco blinked once at the startled expression his comrade wore. I suppose that's answer enough. Together they shook. Previews. What's all this? It was too much to hope Vander wouldn't notice their haul. Vi hid her arms behind her back, feeling every bit a naughty child. All right, spill it. Where'd you get all this? Vi stilled. Deny,
Whatever
deny,
deal
deny.
you worked out
We
with
didn't
him,
steal it,
I'll
Potter
double
argued.
it.
He gave it
More
to us.
than double it.
Shh! Gave it
No.
to you. He knew your name.
I'm tired of
Now
this
it was
power.
Vander's turn to freeze.
The lies,
This
the violence,
guy
and
you
your
met,
cheap
what did he look
self-worth.
like? Naruto's a nice guy. He's not who you
to
think he is.
himself. I
Milo
had to.
wagged an
I
eyebrow at
had
her.
to.
Ew, gross.
Prune the weak.
Potter slapped
All
at
the
him
Karja
and
and
slapped his
Shadow
arm.
are
Not like
doomed.
that.
This
Vander
solves
sighed.
nothing.
Everyone out.
But may
He
the
sat
sun find some worth
before her.
among your dry
Those kids look up
bones.
to you. Vi sighed and cradled her gauntlets close to her chest. Yeah, I know. No, you don't. Her mentor sighed. When people look up to you, you don't get to be selfish. You say run, they run. You say swim, they dive in. You say light a fire, they show up with oil. But whatever happens, it's on you. A shadow stirred in
That was
his
quite a
peripherals.
fireworks
In his
show.
peripherals. No, it might be better to say the rest of the man emerged
took your
from
time?
the shadow itself.
I was
She
busy.
couldn't take
What
it
do you
anymore.
think happened to
Naruto
young
joked
Shun?
as
His other
Ivy pounced on
mercenary
him.
band?
She expected
And I had
death
to
and
organize
despair from
passage
him,
to Meridian for a wanted
extinction as
man.
she fed on his soul. Instead,
Give us
she
a
received
moment,
laughter.
Lucid.
Hey, that tickles.
Girl talk.
Oh, that's unexpected.
You've had
Vi's head
quite
poked in.
a day.
Oi, old man,
I
I
never
need more ammo.
imagined
Naruto
Bahavas
looked
would
up from
blunder into his own
workbench.
trap.
How quickly
His
she
death
changes her
opens
tune.
up wonderful
May I present my
possibilities.
associate Naruto?
Remember Itaman
Much
and
to
Nasadi,
Jay's chagrin,
the Child
man
King
merely
and his
grunted.
mother
Hello.
guarded like hostages
Love
at
quirked a
sunfall?
brow at the blonde.
With
Not
Bahavas
terribly
gone,
talkative,
no
is he?
one will be watching
Harsh
them.
blue eyes
I want
cut
to
at
get
her.
them out.
He is,
And
when he meets someone
I
worth
could
talking
use your
to.
help.
Behind them, Victor whistled. End of chapter 3.